welcome to this explainer. Today, we are jumping straight into a completely clinical but deeply fascinating breakdown of a chilling piece of dark folklore. We're looking at a case study of pure desperation, forbidden magic, and the absolute destruction that follows when a literal blood pact is broken. We are going to examine the terrifying mechanics of something called Kak Tantra. Okay, let's dive into this.
This haunting quote really forms the absolute foundation of our study today. It was spoken by a practitioner of the dark arts, a tantric, and it just completely reframes how we view what is otherwise a super common bird. In this folklore, crows aren't just scavengers, they are supernatural conduits. They're the threshold between our world and the afterlife. And the thing is, if you open that door, you invite something in that you can never, ever truly control.
Act 1, the catalyst and the pact. Look, every disastrous decision starts with a breaking point, right? On one side, we've got our protagonist, Ajitesh. He is literally drowning in a mountain of debt in a decaying home in Kanpur. His cloth business is totally tanking, and his marriage to his wife Sunita is strained by this suffocating silence. Now, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum is his older brother, Suresh. He is a wealthy businessman in Lucknow, and his visits are just full of this condescending, sickening pity. I mean, we've all felt the sting of a sibling's success or the pressure of falling behind. But for Ajitesh, this festering resentment, it becomes the perfect breeding ground for a terrible mistake.
So, it happens on a bitterly cold, foggy winter night. This strange, hunched figure enters Ajitesh's neighborhood. It's a tantric, an occult practitioner with stark white hair, and unnervingly, he's got 2 live crows perched right on his shoulders, completely unbothered by the freezing cold. As he walks through the thick fog, his voice echoes through the streets, basically offering to rewrite the terrible fates of anyone brave enough to ask. Now the neighbors, they just peek through their windows, terrified. But Ajitesh, who is just desperate for a shortcut, spends a sleepless night staring at his decaying walls. By dawn, he makes his choice. He goes out to find the tantric.
And this is where Ajitesh is introduced to Kak Tantra. Now, in many Eastern traditions, crows are revered. They're seen as ancestors visiting the living, but this dark magic twists that reverence entirely. It harnesses the crows as messengers to the supernatural realm to bend reality and achieve impossible wealth. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The magic operates on a strict, horrifying economy. It doesn't ask for money, it demands human blood, continuously. And this brilliantly illustrates the mechanics of it. The pact operates on a terrifyingly strict daily regimen. Step 1, every single morning without a single day of failure, Ajitesh has to wake at dawn. Step 2, physically slice his own finger. Step 3, mix his fresh blood into a handful of grain. And Step 4, feed it to the crows. To seal the deal, the tantric takes Ajitesh's blood right then and there, mixes it, and feeds it to the crows on his shoulders. The contract is sealed. It is a highly systematic, clinical transaction. You are literally trading your life force for financial gain. But before Ajitesh leaves, the tantric gives him one final, spine-chilling condition. He says, never forget the crows because they never forgive. If you miss even a single day, the supernatural pact shatters and the magic will completely destroy the life it just built. Ajitesh just nods. He's absolutely certain he could never forget. Act 2, the illusion of control and the fatal mistake. The results of the Kak Tantra are instantaneous. I mean, week 1, a business deal that had been stuck for 3 years just magically closes. Shortly after that, massive unexplained wealth begins pouring in. Fast forward a few years, and he moves his family into a massive luxury mansion. It's kind of funny how quickly we adapt to luxury, isn't it? Ajitesh now fully believes he is untouchable. He thinks he's completely conquered his fate. So the crucial point is right here. Human nature is just so predictable. Surrounded by absolute comfort, the fear of poverty just vanishes. And unfortunately, so does his discipline. One morning, he simply forgets to wake up at dawn to put out the blood-soaked grain. What started as a strict daily ritual becomes a weekly chore, until eventually, completely engrossed in his own arrogance, Ajitesh just stops bleeding for the crows altogether. He broke the pact. And let me tell you, the supernatural realm does not issue polite reminders. The warnings bleed into his reality immediately. First, a single crow begins perching on his luxury car every single morning, shrieking violently. When Ajitesh chases it away, it just comes right back the next day at the exact same time. Then the horror escalates. Dead crows start appearing right at his front door. But Ajitesh is so blinded by his wealth and status that he just tosses the carcasses in the trash and washes his hands. He's willfully ignoring the terrifying fact that his debt is past due. Then the collection begins, and it happens devastatingly fast. Massive business losses strike out of nowhere. Boom, his most lucrative deal is abruptly canceled. Then a trusted business partner commits fraud and completely vanishes with funds. And the final blow? His original cloth godown catches fire and burns straight to the ground. The invisible hand violently empties his vault. All that immense wealth he accumulated just evaporates in the blink of an eye. They can't even afford the mansion anymore.
Act 3. The Reckoning.
So now, completely bankrupt, Ajitesh, Sunita, and their 15-year-old son are forced to pack up quietly. They have to return to that same old, dilapidated, decaying house in Kanpur. But when Ajitesh nervously looks out the window of his old home, his heart just stops. The roof, the railings, the branches of the nearby peepal tree, literally every available surface is covered in hundreds of crows. And they aren't making a single sound. They are completely silent, unmoving, just staring at the house. They were waiting. They knew he was coming back. The psychological torment inside that house becomes suffocating. At night, crows relentlessly tap their beaks against Ajitesh's bedroom window, and their eyes are glowing this demonic red in the dark. Ajitesh actually wakes up to find deep, black, mysterious marks on his neck, marks that look exactly like beak punctures. But the most horrifying collateral damage here is his 15-year-old son. The boy just stops speaking entirely. If you question him, he just growls. He spends day and night obsessively, frantically drawing black crows in his notebook, pressing so hard that his hands become completely stained black by the crayons. The curse has breached the walls. It's targeting his bloodline now. In an absolute panic, Ajitesh realizes his son's life is on the line. He slashes his finger, desperately trying to offer his blood to the crows again, but they refuse to eat it. The time for bargaining is over, which forces us to ask this chilling question. Once the line is crossed, can a broken blood pact ever be forgiven? Ajitesh runs out to find the only man who might know. He goes hunting for the tantric. He finally tracks down the tantric's remote hut. The door is slightly ajar, and it is dead quiet. Ajitesh steps inside and his blood runs cold. The master of the magic is lying right there on the floor. His clothes are shredded, and his body is covered in horrifyingly deep claw and beak wounds. Surrounding his ruined, barely breathing body is a massive flock of crows. It turns out even the master couldn't control the curse once the chain was broken. Barely clinging to life, the tantric looks up, sees Ajitesh, and just violently screams at him. "Fool! Because of you, I am in this condition. Get out! They will take everything from you." It's a completely crushing realization. There's no counterspell, there's no salvation. Ajitesh has doomed them all. Terrified, he sprints back to his home to confess everything to his wife. That night, things hit the absolute climax. The sky turns unnaturally dark as massive black clouds of screaming crows descend on the house. The noise is just deafening. Inside, Sunita screams. Ajitesh rushes to his son's room and finds the boy violently thrashing on the floor, suffering these bizarre bird-like seizures. He's flapping as if he were a dying crow. Suddenly, the boy stops and glares at his father. His eyes glow a demonic red. Grotesquely, his lips stretch and harden into the shape of a beak. Fully possessed, the boy lunges. As Ajitesh takes his last breath, the windows shatter. Hundreds of crows swarm the room, tearing away his flesh to take the blood he owed them. In the aftermath of all that absolute carnage, the boy suddenly collapses, completely unconscious. When he wakes up, the demonic possession is gone. He looks entirely normal again. Sunita, deeply traumatized by what she just witnessed, grabs her son and flees the house into the night, never ever to return. Today, that house in Kanpur stands as a decaying hollow ruin. Locals say that if you walk past it, you'll still see a silent flock of over 100 crows, forever guarding the cursed grounds. Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. You know, we all want shortcuts. We all want the easiest path out of our struggles. But look closely at the mechanics of this cautionary tale. If a shortcut to immense power required you to sacrifice a piece of your humanity, a piece of your soul every single day, how long would you keep it up? When would you become so comfortable, so arrogant, that you would inevitably forget to pay the toll? Because as we've seen today, some debts, when ignored, come back to collect everything.